Oh, there we go. Welcome to Whitefields Community Church Sermon Extra. I'm here with Pastor Nick, Pastor Mike, and Pastor Nick here is the pastor of Whitefields Community Church here in Longmont, Colorado. Very snowy Longmont, Colorado right now. And quite a change in our Celsius or Fahrenheit, whichever you decide to do. But we have been in, and we still are, in our series called Desiring the Kingdom as we look through the books of 1st and 2nd Kings. And we finished 1st Kings. We're now into 2nd Kings. We're into chapter 2. And what was the title of Sunday's message?
Oh, wow. I'm already moved on. Let me think. It was, I'd have no idea.
Okay.
Well, you put me on the spot there. Well, you know what? I can find out for you.
Yeah.
Because it was, where's the God of Elijah today?
That's right. Where's the God of Elijah today? Exactly. And if you missed that sermon, it's on whitefieldschurch.com. You can download it there, and it's on all of our podcasts, whatever platform you listen on, Apple Music, Google Play, and Spotify. You can find them there. And, of course, if you would, please like this video, share this video if you can, and the podcast. It definitely helps us get this gospel-centered, Christ-centered content out as far and wide as we can, and to bless others with the word and the word that God is speaking here through these texts, these verses to us. And we here in chapter 2, so there's kind of an interesting thing about this. So we find ourselves in verse 3 of chapter 2 and verse 5 of chapter 2. These prophets come to Elisha and they tell him, hey, your master's going to be taken away. The Lord's going to take him away. Twice they say that. And then we come on, starting in verse 15 after Elijah's taken away. And then these same prophets come to Elisha and say, hey, we need to go find out what happened to him. He just kind of disappeared. And it seems like, didn't they know he was going to be taken away? It's kind of like a contradiction of ideas there.
Yeah, so twice they mention to Elisha that Elijah's going to be taken away, and everybody says, yeah, we know it's going to happen today. So they go down to the Jordan, but then what happens is that Elisha gets carried away in this whirlwind. It's like a small tornado type of thing. And it seems that it says Elisha saw it, right? So he sees his body get picked up. Now remember these 50 prophets from Jericho. They're like the school of the prophets or the sons of the prophets. They've kind of come over to watch this, like this, what's happening. So they probably also see his body get picked up and carried away in the whirlwind. Now, what it seems to me, and I guess we can only speculate here, is this. Why are they not believing that his body got carried up to heaven? Because then they say, hey, we should go find his body. Well, I think there's really two options. One option is that they think that only his spirit was taken and perhaps his body was just kind of dumped somewhere a few miles down the road by this whirlwind. And Elisha says, no, you're not going to find his body anywhere. His whole being, his body and his soul were taken up to heaven. The other thing that comes to my mind is I think it's also possible, and I think it's something that we tend to do ourselves, is that we expect that if God's going to work, he's going to work in supernatural ways. But sometimes God does supernatural work through natural means. Maybe you've heard the old story, and it is pretty cliche, right? That I prayed that God would save me, and the guy out at sea, abandoned, God sends a boat to save him, and he says, no, God's going to save me. I don't need your boat, right? And then a helicopter, no, God's going to save me. Well, these are the ways that God was saving that person, and it seems to me that in our lives too, sometimes God uses very natural means as a way of doing his supernatural work and answering our prayers. One thing I was thinking about, my daughter was really sick at one point, right? And we were all praying that God would save her life and save her brain. And he did. But he also, she also spent 8-9 months doing physical therapy every day for 6 hours. She also spent weeks in a neurological hospital. And so did God use those doctors to save her brain? Yes. Did God also do that work? Absolutely. In fact, some of the doctors later came and told us. In fact, one of them, the head doctor from this one department, had come to her first birthday party, and drove himself a few hours to come to the party. And we let him speak and have the floor. And what he said is, he goes, hey, as a doctor, I just do what I can do, but I can't heal anybody, right? Only God can heal people. And so I think that we should recognize that fact. I think that sometimes people create these false dichotomies, right? Where they say, well, I don't trust in natural means like medicine or science or, whatever, learning and stuff like that. I just trust in the Lord. And the fact is that's a false dichotomy. The Lord has given us minds. He's given us natural things in a natural world. And oftentimes he does supernatural things by use of natural means. And here's a point in case. When God wanted to take up Elijah, he didn't just take him away. He certainly could have, just made him disappear. But in this case, he actually carried his body away in a tornado or whirlwind.
Yeah, and it also reminds me kind of the story in the book of Acts where they're all gathered together praying for the release of Peter, that he'll be released from jail. And the Lord gets Peter out of jail.
Yeah.
And he's knocking on the door, and they're opening the door and like, oh, and they close again. They're totally in unbelief that their prayers actually worked.
Right. They're like, God save Peter, God save Peter. And then the girl comes and says, hey, guess what? God saved Peter. And they're like, no, that's not possible. That can't happen. I think it's even funnier that they say, no, it's not Peter. It's just Peter's angel. So they were ready to believe in angels, but they weren't ready to believe that God actually answered their prayer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also just as a preview, for Sunday's message, we've been looking ahead, and we're going to look at chapter 4 coming up on this Sunday. And it was that phrase, like when Elisha asked the woman, like, what do you have in your house? And she's like, I've got nothing but this, jar of oil. And it was through that jar of oil that God then provides, as you were just talking about, through natural means that God then, through Elisha does a miracle where that jar of oil provides for that woman, not to let the cat out of the bag. Now the end of the story, but
I know it's kind of an open book test, though. I mean, you could read ahead any week.
Any week.
In fact, we would encourage it.
Yeah. So chapter 4 will be in this week, and we come on out and we'll join us here online. We'd love to see you, hear from you. If you have any comments or thoughts for that as well, definitely let us know. We are now going to transition to an update, just to give you do some family business here at Whitefields, and just give you an idea of what some of the things that are showing up this week and in the weeks to come.
Yeah, so we haven't done an update. I haven't done one in a couple weeks, but I think I want to continue doing them on occasion as needed. But I think there's plenty of things that we can talk about, that we just want to kind of fill in the church body about some things that are going on. We continue, nothing's really changed just from a coronavirus perspective. We continue to take precautions just as we have been. What is changing is just some events at church this week. So one thing we really want everybody to know about, there's a men's conference coming up in Cheyenne, Wyoming on this Friday and Saturday. So it's Friday night from 6 to 8 p.m. It's going to be a time of worship, fellowship, and prayer. And then Saturday morning, it's going to be a time of, when is that starting?
Starts at 8 a.m.
8
to 12.
12,
8
okay.
to 12, yeah.
And there's like a lunch provided.
Lunch provided after, two morning sessions, worship time, fellowship time, and then, at noon, lunch provided.
Yeah. Who's doing worship?
I'm helping.
You're
doing
helping?
part of it, yeah.
All
Friday
right.
night and Saturday night.
All right.
And who's teaching?
Some guy, he's okay.
Yeah.
It's I'm teaching on Gideon.
Okay.
2 messages. So that'll be good. And I'm looking forward to sharing those messages. And if any of you are like, man, Cheyenne's really far, and I don't know if I want to drive all the way back home and then back there in the morning, 2 options for you. One option is we can carpool. Maybe there's 3 options. One option is carpool. Another option is, I think really the heart of what the conference takes place on Saturday with the breakfast, worship, messages, and then lunch. So if you got to choose, come up on Saturday. The third option is, I think the church up there has some options for people coming from Longmont who want to stay the night. So reach out if you really want to stay the night. We'll try and see if there's an option for that.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so that's the thing. And how do people sign up for that?
They can go to Realm. There's a link there. If you just go
Yeah.
to events on Realm, you can just click register here. It's very easy. I just did it like 10 minutes ago. and just sign up your name, and you'll get an email letting you know that you've been registered. That's probably just for food reasons.
Yeah, it
Make
is.
sure
Yeah,
they
I'm
know
sure.
how many people are coming. It's really easy. Maybe we'll put a link in this description for YouTube and for Facebook as well.
I think if anybody's not on Realm, you can also go to Cheyenne.church.
Yeah.
Cheyenne.church. That's their church's website, and we'll do that. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about, this Sunday, we will be starting signups for Next Gen volunteers. Now, our children's ministry has been on hold since the pandemic hit in March. And so we've had kids in service, which is great, and that'll probably continue because as we're opening up, we are limited in what we can do. And that's because we want to keep people safe. We want to follow all the rules. And so the classes will only be at the 9 o'clock service. They're not happening immediately, right? So right now we're just looking for volunteers, making sure that people who volunteered in the past sign up again to volunteer. We know that some of our volunteers, for health reasons, for work reasons, are not able to serve in the ministry. So we are looking for new people to volunteer. And, moving into this building has also given us the opportunity. Some ministries have shifted around, right? We don't have a set-up ministry anymore. So maybe some of you who have previously served in other places, this is an opportunity for you to get involved by teaching kids. So initially, when we start children's ministry classes, it's going to be kindergarten through 5th grade. It's going to be on Sunday mornings. It's going to be only at the 9 o'clock service at first until we have more volunteers, and until needs dictate it, then we will move to both services having children's ministry, but initially it will just be at the 9 o'clock service. And we need teachers and helpers to sign up. And so we're going to be taking signups for that in the Commons here at church on Sunday morning. Next announcement is that community groups are still taking signups one last time this coming Sunday, and a lot of the groups are filling up. That's really great. A lot of the in-person groups are full because we have limits on how many people can go to them. But if you haven't yet signed up for a group, we have options for you, right? Both in person and online. The online groups don't really have limits on how many people can be in them. So, but we do have in-person groups still available. So we would encourage people to sign up for those. That'll also be in the Commons this Sunday. Women's ministry is meeting tomorrow night. So the women's ministry evening group is this week, tomorrow night, Thursday night. And then also there is a youth rock climbing event coming up in a couple Saturdays. And so keep an eye out for that if you have any youth out there. Tim and Lisa Krieger, who are heading up this event and heading up the youth group at the moment, they are like experienced rock climbers.
They met. That's how they met.
That's how they met, yeah. And they're also good at like teaching people who've never been before.
Yeah.
So maybe you say, well, I'm not good at that. I've never done it. Maybe I'm scared. There's going to be something for everybody. Even more experienced people, of course, they'll have something for them as well. So we just want the kids to get together, spend some time outside in nature, doing something cool. And so that'll be coming up soon.
Yeah, so that's all of that stuff is either on Realm, or, if you just want to contact, you're not even sure what's going on, just contact us at info@whitefieldschurch.com, and we're happy to get information that you might need or send you any links or anything like that. And again, if you missed our sermon on Sunday, whitefieldschurch.com, you can download and go back into our archives, and you'll be able to find anything that you might have missed. And please, go if you can, just go ahead and share that. Give it the thumbs up or whatever. It just helps us get it out, and get this Christ-centered, gospel-centered content out there. And it's great to have you with us this week, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. God bless.
Bye-bye.